Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show, where we help you make the wisest and most profitable decisions. My name is Dr. Gleb Tsipursky. I'm the CEO of Disaster Avoidance Experts, the future of our consultancy that sponsors the Wise Decision Maker Show. And I'm joined today by Greg. Greg, can you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to visit with you today and with everyone. My name is Greg Donaca, and I am the president and CEO of Delta Dental of Idaho. I've been with Delta Dental for almost 17 years uh, and have been the CEO for coming up on 7 years.
Nice. And I know you've been starting to work on generative AI adoption. So can you tell me a little bit about where you are with generative AI adoption right now and how you came to be where you are?
Sure. Yeah, where we are right now, we've kind of have a three-prong approach. The first is really looking at the governance of generative AI. The second then is the adoption. And the third is then more the technical. So where we are at on those different fronts, the governance, we have a overall AI policy. We are working through where does it report into the board. We have a very active board. We have different committees and looking at does it report into the risk and compliance committee, and at some point is its own committee where it's an AI committee, more of experts on the board that have more of an interest and knowledge in AI. With the adoption, it's hit and miss and always a challenge to get people to see the value of it, not to feel threatened. It's something ongoing, as you know, with any change management. So that is ongoing. On the technical side, we have adopted Microsoft Copilot, and we are spending a lot of time. We process a lot of claims, right? Dental claims. So we do prepaid dental business, and we process about 1 million claims a year. So what we are working with is a company that's called Pearl AI. Pearl is very well known and respected more on the dental office side. So in the dental office, making recommendations on what procedure should be done, where is there decay, really is an aid to the dentist. By no means replacing the dentist, but more of an aid. They're now focused on the payer side, which is us, dental insurance company. Does the image that was submitted support the procedure that was done? So spending a lot of time then with AI to be able to help determine what claims need further review by our dental consultants, which claims can we automatically pay.
Excellent. That sounds really helpful. Now, let's talk about those three parts in turn. So the governance. Tell me a little bit of how you decided on your policies and what your governance structure is going to be like. What was the process of decision making?
Yeah, the process, one of the benefits of a Delta Dental is that we are Delta Dental of Idaho. And there are other Delta Dentals throughout the state. So we work very closely with 13 other Delta Dentals. We have access to a total of about 40 Delta Dentals and our national organization. So we have been working in collaboration with some of the other Deltas on what is standard that should be in a governance policy, what is some things that we believe in, fitting it into our culture, and some of the regulations. In addition, then, we have a national organization, and that national organization has published a governance. But really, to me, it's how does it fit in overall with your company and with your culture? So one thing, for example, is we have made the commitment that we will make it well known when we are utilizing AI. And there was a decision from AI, if they're talking to, interacting with the chatbot, we will not pretend like it's a person. So that's one of the small governance things that we have. And it is myself and then other subject matter experts in the company that are coming up with the overall policy that, as of now, then we will interact with our risk and compliance committee.
Now, governance is about risks. And so what risks did you see that you wanted to avoid with your governance structure? And what specifically are you doing about each risk?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the biggest risks that we have is probably more in the optics space of our policyholders, so the people who have purchased our plans, and in addition, the dentist or the brokers who sell our product, the optics of us utilizing AI to deny claims or to deny services or procedures that should be paid. So to me, that is the biggest risk, is that is the thought, the incorrect thought, that we are eliminating the expertise of our dental consultants reviewing claims, a human making the decision, and we utilize AI maybe to make the list of claims smarter that they look at, but by no means replacing people. So to me, that is one of the biggest risks. The other risk in that area is also people just feeling that they are expendable and replaced. I have heard many times lately that whatever technology, Copilot can do that better than me. You're not going to need me when you get this fully implemented. And again, by no means is that true, because it fits into what I believe is the third biggest risk, which is really people just automatically assuming that the output from AI is correct, regardless of how the question was asked or the input, and not really then reviewing it themselves.
So those are serious risks. So let's talk about that employment risk that ties into the implementation component, where a lot of folks are afraid. Well, so you talked about the optics of both external and internal. And externally, you have policyholders who might be concerned about denial. You might be dentists who are concerned about denial. But presumably, you can go back and tell them that, look, we're able to give you lower rates and we're able to give quicker decisions because we're using generative AI. So you can talk about the benefits to them. Whereas employees, it can be harder for them to appreciate the benefits. There's a lot of job anxiety. So tell me a little bit more about how you're communicating externally about the benefits for the policyholders and the dentists of you using generative AI, and then we'll turn to the employees for whom that's a harder conversation, I imagine.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. With the dentist and the external, so dentists and then also policyholders,
That's
brokers, it is just a lot of conversation over and over that we will never automatically deny a claim based off of AI. And so along with that, then it's exactly what you mentioned, talking about some of the positives that on average, our time to process claims has been reduced about 1.5 days. So that means that the policyholder knows, faster and more timely, do they have any responsibility? What was covered? And the dentist gets paid faster. So definitely an increase in customer service. So we just reiterate the pros and we make then assurances of what we will not do. The one other thing is we have found it very helpful in working with different societies or associations. So for example, in Idaho, the Idaho State Dental Association is very influential. Probably 95% of the dentists, maybe 90%, are a member of its abbreviation is ISDA. So we work very closely with the ISDA on that and to assure them and to give them proof that we are not denying claims automatically. So So far, that's been successful. And the foundation and the basis of all of it is great relationships. Right? You have to have solid relationships, continue to be transparent, open, available. And then things like AI and other things are a lot easier. With the internal employees, I definitely agree with you. That is a harder conversation. And it is discussion, continual discussion that we are looking to enhance the customer experience. We are looking to bend the cost curve going forward, not eliminate positions, not eliminate job families. So a good example is we know exactly how many customer service representatives we have for the number of policyholders, how many people in the claims department for the number of claims that we process. And we are looking to be able to be more efficient so that we can add more policyholders, process more claims, and maybe add, what used to be 2 people, now we only add 1 person. So that's the other is, a lot of conversation that relationships are very important in a service organization. Culture is very important. We are not looking to lay people off. We are looking at how do we have a better experience for employees, a better experience for our stakeholders, and reduce the cost curve going forward.
That makes
So
sense.
as you can imagine, it is definitely a big fear of people. Fortunately, we have spent a lot of time on culture, on relationships. We do have a high degree of trust that helps it, but it is an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, no, definitely is. And I've worked with a number of insurance agencies and insurance companies on figuring out that their approach to generative AI and what you're talking about is an important part of the dynamic, which is why I know it's a hard one. Something that I've worked on and that I've seen work out well is focusing on upskilling and convincing staff that, hey, if you upskill and you adopt generative AI, you will not be replaced by this tool because we need people who are good at using generative AI. That's kind of clearly the future. What are you doing about upskilling your employees to give them the tools and the confidence that they need to see that they can progress in their career by acquiring the techniques to use generative AI effectively?
Yeah, that's a very good question. One of the things that we do is we encourage employees, and we have time set aside where so many hours a month people can take and utilize that to enhance their own skills, to be able to do research on things. So it's dedicated time. I believe it's 4 to 8 hours a month, depending on the position and what job family that they're in. To be able to bring forth, research to bring forth new tools, recommendations, or to hone in their skills. In addition, we provide a lot of training and education on like Copilot I mentioned that we're rolling out. And so we have partnered with a third party to be able to help with the education, the training. We have a lot of videos, tutorials, and then just really encourage people to try different tools and that, failure is okay. That's the way that we learn. And so those are a few things. In addition, if there's certain certifications, and more of those are like some of the Microsoft ones in IT, we pay for people to get the certifications, pay for the education, and then also give them time to study and then hopefully pass and take the test and pass. I do see, to help with that, I could see, maybe in a year as we continue to grow and expand with our use of AI, hiring a position that is like an AI analyst. And that person then would be more knowledgeable and dedicated as to where is AI going, what tools are
Mhm.
available, how does it fit in, the
Mhm.
change management as we spoke about. And a big component of that is the training and education.
Yeah. That's definitely an important and growing role. The chief AI officer, or whatever you call it, in each individual
Yes.
corporation, definitely an important role. Now, you're talking about going forward, and as we wrap up, I'm curious what you're seeing over the hill in the next year or two, as generative AI is clearly improving and it's clearly able to do more and more tasks that people were used to do. We are having AI agents coming online, and certainly Microsoft is going to have more of those available in the next year, definitely 2 years. What are you seeing and what are you thinking as generative AI especially becomes more capable?
Yeah. I see a few things as we've spoke about, and you mentioned also definitely, dedicated positions
Mhm.
that are AI focused. You look at it and it's just amazing what AI can do, what
Yeah.
is already available. It definitely would have a positive return on investment for a
Mhm.
position that's dedicated towards AI.
Mhm.
The other is we have had a change in philosophy. So we have our own, we have a subsidiary that is called AHS, and it's an IT service company. So they
Mhm.
service Delta Dental of Idaho and another Delta Dental in a different state. We have changed philosophies where it used to be that, 95% of everything we could handle with our IT. We would augment staff as needed more for
Mhm.
bandwidth. In the last year and a half, that has completely changed.
Mhm.
And what I see now and where we are going forward is more reliance on experts. It is,
Mhm.
the time that you have in between major upgrades or major availability on software has greatly been reduced.
Yeah.
And there is no way that we can remain current on
Mhm.
all of the technologies, even with a dedicated AI position. So that's the second that I see is
Mhm.
more partnerships, more reliance on
Mhm.
third-party consultants and experts. The last one, and where more of the dental industry is going, medical is similar, which is the movement towards what we call real-time claim adjudication.
Mhm.
And what that is if you were to go to your dentist, you are
Mhm.
sitting in the chair, and the dentist says you need a filling. They can then go on their system and know in real time what is Delta Dental of Idaho going to pay? What is your
Mhm.
responsibility? Or if you needed a crown, what is your
Mhm.
responsibility? What is Delta Dental covering? And all of that is done in real time. By the time you
Yes.
leave, that transaction is completed, that claim is paid, the dentist is paid, and
Mhm.
you then have your EOB waiting for you in your text or email. So
Mhm.
that is where the whole industry is moving. That's where you have a lot of AI companies, like I mentioned, Pearl. There's
Mhm.
another called Overjet. Everybody's trying to move together where if AI says in a dental office, this should be paid, it looks against what we call our payment processing policies.
Mhm.
Yes, we agree it should be paid, and that's all then done in real time. So that,
Excellent.
we're a couple years away from, but that's where the
Mhm.
entire industry is going.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for sharing your expertise, Greg. This was very helpful.
Good. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you to the audience for checking out another episode of the Wise Decision Maker Show. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you checked out the show and leave a review. It helps others discover the show and helps us improve the show. And if you have any questions, email me at gleb, Gleb, at disasteravoidanceexperts.com.